instruments, but today we're going to learn it on the congas. 1, 2, 3, 4. For more info, go to soundcollective.com.
One of the most important things when working with vocalists is to make sure that you have a perfect template set up for them so that you could drop in any vocal and get right to work without messing around with the settings of your DAW. So I have my beat channel. As you can see up here, there's already a beat loaded in it. And right underneath, I have a vocal chain with 3 channels. And I have each of those running into a gate for room noise and a little auto-tune. After that, I have my massive chain. Underneath that, I have my ad-lib group. It has a lot more reverb and delay straight on the vocals. And then we have 2 audio channels for tags or samples that would be put in, as well as one on the very bottom for some extra vocals that don't need any processing. And I run all of that into a Pro L2 and WLM meter and on my master. This is how I mix vocals right in this template. If you guys want to find out more, head on over to soundcollective.com.
What's up, guys? This is your boy Kimchi Sauce. I'll be teaching you production with machine, and here's a sample of what you're going to learn. This was a sample of what you're going to learn in my course. Go to soundcollective.com to check out more. See you there.
How is C Jam Blues, written by Duke Ellington?
Hi, my name's Leroy Cloughton. I've worked with Steely Dan, the B-52s, and Lenny Pickett. In this course, you're going to learn a little bit more about working with a metronome, and let me show you a little bit of that now. So working with a metronome allows you to stay in time, build confidence in your ability to be effective in recording with all styles of music, and then also working in Broadway productions. And if you're interested in doing that stuff, you can learn more about this class at soundcollective.com. See you there. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Iriel Farrell, and that was a Funk Batido Alto, just one of the things you're going to learn in my course on Brazilian rhythms for the bass. In this course, we're going to focus on playing bass in a Brazilian rhythm section, be it with just percussion instruments and maybe a couple of guitars, or a more contemporary, conventional rhythm section where there's a drum set. I'm going to teach you how to approach creating bass lines for styles like bossa nova, samba, samba partido alto, samba batucada, and another rhythm that you may not have heard of called bayón. If you want to learn more about this course and other courses, please go to soundcollective.com.
Hey, my name is Patrick Ames, and I'm here at Sound Collective NYC. I'm going to teach you how to chop up a break in Logic Pro using Flex Mode. So what you're going to want to do is throw your break straight into Logic, hit this icon right here to turn Flex Mode on. I like to keep it on polyphonic. As you can see, all the transients popped up here. So what you do is grab this top right corner, slide it over to fit the tempo of the track. It already sounds good, but in order to tighten up the drums a little bit, you can grab these transients and just drag them to the closest line right here so everything's in time. Nice. And then the final step would be to right click and slice at flex markers, and there you have it. Ready to go, just drop it into your sampler and get to it. To learn more about jungle drum and bass production, join us at soundcollective.com. Hey guys, my name is Patrick Ames, and I'm teaching a music production course on how to make UK garage. Let me teach you how to lay down some drums. So I'll start with a kick drum. Add a snare drum. I'm gonna grab every other snare and move it over to the left by one tick to give it shuffle. Now I'm gonna add some side stick for ghost notes. Open hi-hat on the upbeat. Gonna sneak a little hi-hat right before that open hat to give it more shuffle. And a bit of shaker tambourine. And that's how you lay down some UK garage drums. For more, join us at soundcollective.com.
I like to think of it as almost having a separate volume knob.
Hi, I'm Dave Prevy, and I'm here to tell you about my course, Learning Classic Drum Beats and Groove Techniques, where we get into all kinds of different songs and learning them quickly on the drums. So we get into something like The Funky Drummer, where I break down the beat, how to play it, and the players involved who played it. So check it out.
Let's go ahead and record some audio.
Hey, I'm Nick Neutrons, and at Sound Collective, I'm developing a course in which you can see a lot of my workflow hacks. And one of the workflow hacks is a Serum Rack that can make all kinds of sounds. In this case, I'm first gonna make a bass sound. I'm gonna use this filter knob to close off some of the highs, and I'll use the unison detune knob to give that resound. And I can sweep the wavetable if I want a pulse wave or a saw wave. I think this time I'm gonna go with the saw wave. Now I'm gonna write a synth arpeggiator part with the same rack, and I'll just change the parameters to be a bit different. Increasing the amplitude of the attack of the amplitude rather, just to make it fade in. Use some filter envelope. This is just one of the workflow tricks that I have in the course for Sound Collective. If you go to soundcollective.com, you can check out all the other tips and tricks that I have that I've put into this course. Look forward to seeing you there.
I use a lot of 3-note patterns and 4-note patterns right here, but I integrate it into my solo.
Hi, I'm John. I produce music under the name Proper Villains, and I'm teaching a course on how to program percussive sounds in X for Serum. I'm going to show you a quick lesson right now on how to make a TR-808 clap in Serum. Turn your level all the way down, then we're going to assign LFO 1 to the level. We're going to switch it to envelope, and we're going to turn off the BPM sync. Drag this to the left, and now we have a very basic noise pulse. So a clap's just sort of like a little pulse of white noise with teeth. So we're just going to go right in and draw the teeth. Turn on the distortion. We'll pick up our hard clip and just crank that baby. Bring the mix down a little bit. And there you go, a TR-808 clap in Serum. If you like what you've heard and I piqued your interest, check me out on soundcollective.com.
Hi, my name is Iriel Farrell, and that was a funk batilo alto, just one of the things you're going to learn in my course on Brazilian rhythms for the bass. In this course, we're going to focus on playing bass in a Brazilian rhythm section, be it with just percussion instruments and maybe a couple of guitars, or a more contemporary, conventional rhythm section where there's a drum set. I'm going to teach you how to approach creating bass lines for styles like bossa nova, samba, samba partido alto, samba batucada, and another rhythm that you may not have heard of called baião. If you want to learn more about this course and other courses, please go to soundcollective.com.
Hi, I'm Hilliard Green. Here is a technique you will learn in my Intro to Upright Bass course. For more, you can go to soundcollective.com. Hi, I'm Hilliard Hill Green, and most people call me by my nickname, Hill. In my course, Introduction to Electric Bass, we will go over a technique navigating your way through a 1-4-5 progression. For more, go to soundcollective.com.
I use a lot of 3-note patterns and 4-note patterns right here, but I integrated into my solo.
Hi, my name is Jacinta Clusellas and I'm going to show you 3 input techniques in Finale. First, we're going to take a look at note input using our keyboard, choosing our notes up here in this palette and entering them manually. We can change the value and we can use our arrows to move through the notes and change the pitch. Next, we're going to look into adding notes using letters. And also using our arrows to move and scroll through the pitch. Third, we're going to look into using our Midi keyboard and our keypad to input notes in Finale using the Speedy Entry tool. I'm going to select one measure, play whichever note or notes I want to enter, and then select the value. If you're interested in learning more about this, join me at soundcollective.com.
I like to think of it as almost having a separate volume knob.
Hey, my name is Patrick Ames, and I'm here at Sound Collective NYC. I'm going to teach you how to chop up a break in Logic Pro using flex mode. So what you're going to want to do is throw your break straight into Logic, hit this icon right here to turn flex mode on. I like to keep it on polyphonic. As you can see, all the transients popped up here. So what you do is grab this top right corner, slide it over to fit the tempo of the track. It already sounds good, but in order to tighten up the drums a little bit, you can grab these transients and just drag them to the closest line right here so everything's in time. Nice. And then the final step would be to right click and slice at flex markers, and there you have it. Ready to go, just drop it into your sampler and get to it. To learn more about jungle drum and bass production, join us at soundcollective.com.
Welcome to Sound Collective, the community created to help make music your way. Located in the downtown financial district of Manhattan, our 28 Broadway facility is fully equipped to provide you with the tools of today's top industry professionals. Are you a DJ looking to practice for your next gig? A drummer who needs a place to practice your rudiments? Our practice rooms and workstations are the perfect place to craft your sound. Looking to host a live performance, group events, practice sessions, or more? Our performance space is the perfect place to get the full Sound Collective experience. Need a place to record your next project? We have a professional, quality recording studio available and studio engineers to help you build the sound you're looking for. Visit us for a tour of our facility and see what Sound Collective has to offer.
Today, we are going to learn the pattern of chandé or garabato.
Hey all, this is Jason Gianni and welcome to Traditional Funk and R&B Rhythms. You might recognize me as the co-author of The Drummer's Bible and from the theme song of SpongeBob SquarePants. The Cold Sweat Groove by James Brown is an essential starting point for the foundation of this style. I'm going to take you through this right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, that was me just playing through it. But if you want to hear me break that down, check out the course at soundcollective.com. Well, hey everybody, this is Jason Gianni here, and I'm gonna break down a groove from my Introduction of Caribbean Rhythms drum course. Here's the soca. For more information about this rhythm and other rhythms and other courses, check out soundcollective.com.
What's up guys, this is your boy Kimchi Sauce. I'll be teaching you production with machine, and here's a sample of what you're gonna learn. This was a sample of what you're going to learn in my course. Go to soundcollective.com to check out more. See you there.
So what I did was I chopped up tiny segments from this vocal performance and created individual parts.
Hi, my name is Jacinta Clusellas, and I'm going to show you 3 input techniques in Finale. First, we're going to take a look at note input using our keyboard, choosing our notes up here in this palette and entering them manually. We can change the value, and we can use our arrows to move through the notes and change the pitch. Next, we're going to look into adding notes using letters. And also using our arrows to move and scroll through the pitch. Third, we're going to look into using our Midi keyboard and our keypad to input notes in Finale using the Speedy Entry tool. I'm going to select one measure, play whichever note or notes I want to enter, and then select the value. If you're interested in learning more about this, Join me at soundcollective.com.
Is C Jam Blues, written by Duke Ellington.
Hi, I'm Vinny Pagano, and here's a couple of quick tips that you can use to tighten up your vocal recording using compression and UAD plugins. First, we're going to want to set the gain on our preamp. Make sure that when you're setting your gain, you try to push a little bit more on the output gain and a little bit less on the input gain. This is going to help you to reduce any saturation that you might receive from your preamp. Up next, we're going to just take our compressor and set our meter to input. This will allow us to meter the output signal of our preamp. So we can turn this up, and we want to get it just under that 0 when it starts to peak out. Then we can set our meter to compression, use somewhere a little bit below 12 o'clock for our ratio, using an attack and release fixed, and then we can drop our threshold until we get to about 3 to 5 dB of gain reduction. Once we do that, we can go to our output gain and use our output metering to get up to the appropriate level. So we can push up until we're hitting just about the 0. If you're hitting the red, you're hitting it a little bit too hard, so pull it back just a bit. Just by checking your input and output levels, you can get yourself a much cleaner signal. To find out more, check out thesoundcollective.com.
Here we have some bass MIDI. And we're going to pop open Serum, and we're going to make the world's fastest and awesomest TB303 sound using wavetable synthesis. We're going to go to analog, we're going to go to acid. Sounds kind of corny. Let's hit, on the voicing section, mono and legato, and we'll turn our portamento up a little bit. Now we're going to take envelope 2. We're going to apply it to the wavetable position. We're going to bring sustain down and the decay down. Sounds pretty cool right from the jump. We're going to go into the matrix editor, and we're going to map the aux source to macro 1. Now we're going to apply a little post-processing. We're going to add a bunch of distortion. And we're going to apply envelope 2 to the drive. Next, we're going to add a bit of chorus. Bring the mix down to 30%. And add a little bit of reverb. And there you go. If you want to check out more, check out soundcollective.com.
What's really cool is now we can go into this MIDI and do whatever we want to it.
Hi, my name is Iriel Farrell, and I'm going to be teaching the Afro-Cuban Rhythms for Bass class. Right now, I'm going to demonstrate a son montuno from Cuba, which is one of the styles you will be learning if you take our class. If you want to learn this and more things like this, go to soundcollective.com.
Let's go ahead and record some audio.
One of the most important things when working with vocalists is to make sure that you have a perfect template set up for them so that you could drop in any vocal and get right to work without messing around with the settings of your DAW. So I have my beat channel. As you can see up here, there's already a beat loaded in it. And right underneath, I have a vocal chain with 3 channels. And I have each of those running into a gate for room noise and a little auto-tune. After that, I have my massive chain. Underneath that, I have my ad-lib group. It has a lot more reverb and delay straight on the vocals. And then we have 2 audio channels for tags or samples that would be put in, as well as one on the very bottom for some extra vocals that don't need any processing. And I run all of that into a Pro L2 and WLM meter and on my master. This is how I mix vocals right in this template. If you guys want to find out more, head on over to soundcollective.com.
Cool. We're live, baby. Welcome, welcome. Are we testing it? We're all good on the mics? Great, great.
Testing.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We have a really awesome panel of women that are here to just talk and have a very regular, honest conversation about what it is to be a woman in the music industry. We'll talk a little bit about our process and our vision and how being a woman is at the intersection of a lot of our goals for our careers and beyond. So we have with us tonight DJ Twin T and La Pili coming all the way from Spain. And we'll go down the line and do some intros. Ladies, introduce yourselves.
You first. Let's start with me. So my name is Tammy. I go by DJ Twin T, and that's it.
Yeah, what do you do?
What do I do? Oh, I'm a DJ. I'll go to you.
So my name is Pili, but everybody knows me as La Pili. And I do plenty things, but I'm really into music as a singer, composer, and a DJ.
So dope. And you live in Spain?
Yeah, I live in Spain, in Madrid right now. I'm about to release my first album because I made mixtape work and singles before, but this is going to be my first full album, and I'm really excited because it's a really like a deep concept. It's not just a musical album. It's like a fairy tale too. It's a book, so it has interludes between each song. So when you listen the full project, it's like a full history.
And DJ Twin T, you're in New York, or where are you?
I'm in Jersey, based out of New Jersey. Yes.
Awesome. Yes. So obviously this panel is for women in music and women in the business. So it would be awesome just to hear through that lens, how maybe just a little bit about how you started and what the landscape was like when you started, maybe some experiences that you can speak to in the beginning that were maybe challenging for you as a woman coming into the industry, and just things that you remember during that time that you were hurdling, and then we could talk more about where you're at today in your artistic identities, but maybe speak a little bit about how it was just developing creatively. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I started back originally from Jacksonville, Florida, and back in my hometown there were not really any female DJs that I had to really look up to. So for me, that alone was a challenge because it was just male dominated. But I think my love and my passion for music is what kind of made me just you know what, I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm going to, go out, hang with other DJs and see, kind of shadow them and try to get a feel of what it is and what I need to do. So kind of self-taught, just did my own thing, stayed in the house, was like bought my equipment and just started, call myself mixing what I thought was mixing and what sounded good to me at the time. And that's really how I started. That was my process. I knew I loved music. I listened to so many different, records, albums that were passed down from my father or my mom, my grandmother. So to me, that's what started my journey, and that's what started my process. So I would say the only challenge, I guess, is not having anyone to look up to at that time, but still pushing through to continue that.
Yeah, it's hard to come up in the industry without role models or mentors.
Right.
And I think we all probably scraped some type of mentor out along the way,
exactly.
kind of carved one out, but
Exactly.
it wasn't like we had a bunch of people to pull from, especially as DJs,
Yes.
right? And interdisciplinary artists, like where do you start?
Right.
But Pila, did you have a mentor or anybody that you were looking to?
No, actually, no. I started in music in a really I don't know how to say, like fortuita way. I was working as a stylist for so many artists, but actually the truth is when I was a child, I really want to be a singer, but I have this pressure in Spain. You have a really pressure that if you want to be a singer, if you are a woman, you have to have a kind of body, and it's not my kind of body. So when I say always, I had this dream, I want to be a singer, everybody was like, no, like, what are you saying? So yes, I was working as a stylist, and I was making the clothes for so many artists in the music industry. And I'm starting to go to the studios, and I have a lot of passion and love for the music. So the producer starts to see that and say, why you don't make music? And yes, I was making theater in that time too. So I was working as a teacher of dance hall too. And in this time, I had these students, and I was teaching them some moves. And like when you have like big and thick legs, like sometimes your body can sound, and the girls feel really, really shy when this happens. So when we finish the classes, I have an idea to make a performance that is going to take the song of Dale Don Dale of Don Omar, and I'm going to make the percussion of the song with my legs. So I recorded the legs, and I made the production of the song and everything. And when I have the production, one of my friends say, why you don't write a lyric and make an actual song? I made the song, and this song became viral like 4 years ago. And after that, I'm starting to make music. So for me, it was like, it's something that had to happen. Like, doesn't matter. And it was like that. I didn't have any reference. And when this song arrives, everybody stopped me in the street for say, thank you, because it's the first summer of my life wearing shorts here in Spain.
Amazing.
Yes. So I think I becoming that reference that I didn't have. And this is the reason, yes.
And I think that's so cool that you actually used your body as a woman, like, and kind of like.
And it's one of my like strong concepts. Yes.
Wow. That's super dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm from the Midwest originally, and when I first moved to New York, I was a fish out of water. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't have friends or family like you. It was just off the love. It was like, I think I want to do this, and I think I'm doing the right thing, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
Right.
And so I feel like I actually, in the beginning, I had more men influencing me, as mentors. And certainly, you have to navigate a lot of men who aren't that, but I think it can be tough, like for women. I always say, like in the beginning, when you walk into the room, usually it's male dominated, right? Especially if you're in a studio setting. You spend, whereas your male counterparts get in the room, they get there and they get to work and go. When I get in the room, I spend this much time proving that I'm actually here to work, and then I get to go. Right. So there's that like piece, that latency of like my ability to jump in. And so especially when you couple that with like a lack of mentorship or a lack of someone saying, hey, you're doing the right thing, keep doing that. It can be a discouraging process, but like the people that really are here to push through and do it for the love, it sounds like you get scrappy and you create.
Yes.
Right. And it sounds like you both have really created things of very original things to kind of like propel your careers in the industry. And that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm also curious to know, like, now that you're maybe a little more seasoned with where you're at, what are some things that you really strive for at this point in your careers as women? You know, is there something in particular that you're spending time turning back and contributing towards? You know, is mentorship a big part of your career now? Do you find like it's like a personal mission for you to like help other women in the industry? Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, so for me, just not having that coming up, I think as a female DJ, I try to give back. I'm open to like sharing my knowledge. A lot of times people reach out to me and ask my opinion. I'm very straightforward. I don't mind sharing. It's like, I don't mind telling what it took me to get here. And I think that's important, being able to give that back and help people out and pull people out and say, just motivate them and say, hey, keep going. I see you doing your thing, or keep spinning, and just, you know, whatever. I think that we need more of that today, and, you know, especially in the DJ community. So I always try to pull back, and just having the background of being a teacher as a DJ instructor, I try to give back to when I'm teaching, and, you know, so I think that's a part that I can say I play in today, opposed to back then that I didn't have for myself. So.
Nice. Yeah, for me, it's actually the same. I think sharing and everything that is around sorority is an energy that really makes me grow and makes grow to all women. So it's so important for me. And yes, for example, I changed all the musician of my band, and now I'm working just with a woman musician, and it's the best decision that I take. And it is actually, it wasn't just because, you know, this concept that I have and my ideas. Actually, I work so much better in the group right now that we only are women. And also, like, I organize a party that is called Bomba Party in Spain. And I have the same thing, like, we just book, like, DJ women. Like, normally it's the 19% of the bookings that we do. And it's like, it's the same. Like, there is not so many woman DJs. So it's, for me as a booker of the party, it's something like a strong word, because I have to be, like, checking all the time, like, what are the new DJs, what are they doing, and everything. Yes.
Super cool. Yeah, I feel like it wasn't until I felt like I had more of my footing in music that I really felt like, oh my gosh, wait, I need help. You know, like, I need to be a mentor. Oh wait, I really care about this. I'm passionate about this. You know, it's like it's I feel like maybe even part of imposter syndrome to even spend any time not thinking that, you know, like, I am a mentor, you know, like, I should talk to my peers, and I don't have to be qualified in order to turn around and teach about music or help other women who are navigating this space, you know. So it's cool to be, like, proud of your work and being able to share that with other women. Now at this point, I think too, in the beginning, when I would go into more male dominated rooms and I would see another woman in the room, I would, like, go out of my way to approach her and be like, hey girl, you know, what's your name? What's your gram? You know, what do you do? And kind of chat with them, and you kind of buddy up with them real quick. What is it like for you? I mean, Lapili, you've talked about how you're employing women and making them a part of your production team and your sets. What's it like for you both, like, working with other women, and kind of like what attitude do you take, especially in the workplace, like when you see other women, assuming that it's not one of friction? Because sometimes women is like, we can get a little funny with other women, or you know, what is the attitude that you take when you're working with other women?
For me, the attitude is the inclusion. Like, for me, I have something like, when this happened, because I am the only woman, you know, in a place, and when there is more women there, it's like, wow, like, great, yes. So I feel really good, yes. But and I think it's because of the kind of education that my mama gave me, that, like, she always, like, teach us, like, to be like that. But yes, maybe in the past I lived this situation that I can go to meet a woman and they have this attitude, like, they don't want to have, because they see us as a competition, because the system teach us that we have to be competitive each other all the time, and it's something that is not true. And I think actually this is a kind of strategy for me, that we lose the time and we don't dominate the things, because we are really talented and have the power from being there. So if they are putting so many, like, work for me, like, we are in the competition, is for something. There is a reason for that.
How do you feel like it's been for you working with women? You know, what's the attitude that you take on? Also, as a DJ, maybe, you know, like you're collaborating in a different way, right? Because you don't necessarily have like a band with you per se, or like.
Right, it's more so of a solo thing, but even when I see female DJs or lady DJs out there, for me, I haven't had a problem with it. I try to be with, like, hang around people or people that are like-minded and don't mind encouraging each other. And for me, just to push each other, I get excited when I see a female DJ or I see someone doing like a wedding or a retail event. I get excited about that, because for me, it's like, it's more of us out here that are doing it, and it's good. It's a time for us to make our mark and let it be known that it's not like, it's just not only males that can do what we do. So I get excited, and like I say, it's very encouraging to see other women doing it in the same, you know, like there's an even playing field for us as well.
Yeah, it feels so good to have that, to embrace that mentality.
Yes.
You know, and the future's bright
Yes.
when you look forward. And looking back, like even before coming to speak on this panel, I thought like, wow, like how neat that we're even sitting here having this conversation today. And I talked about how satisfying it feels to like my younger self.
Yes.
Because I remember being a young woman and coming into like events like this, and it's rather vague, right? Like women in music or women in business or something. But there's just something like electric about being in spaces that are created by women, that are for women to talk about, and it just like, it feels so good. It's like, I don't even care what we're gonna talk about,
right?
You know, it just feels good to be in everyone's company, because it's just very affirming and fortifying. But you know, like, I guess looking back to that version of yourself that was just starting out or kind of clawing their way in, kind of creating this lane for yourself in this big huge industry, you know, what would you say? You know, what would you say to your old self? Maybe it's to you, or maybe it would be in the form of advice to other young women, just assuming that you're mentoring more people along the way, more younger women, or just women in general. But you know, what message do you have for that version of you that was just getting started?
I know this may sound cliche, but like, keep going, find your lane, which I have found my lane. Sometimes starting out, you don't know exactly what you want to do. You can go in so many different paths as a DJ. But finding your lane and staying true to what you believe in, being authentic, and just doing what it is that you want to do, stay the course, and then find that mentorship, because it is out there now than it was before when I started. But just figure out what it is that you want to do and go along that path. I mean, it's not going to be always smooth. It's going to have some bumps in there, but I think once you push through and persevere, then that's where the hard work and everything comes, the rewards come out of that. So that's what I would tell my younger self, and just being a test to pushing through.
Keep going.
Yes, keep going.
Keep pushing. Come
exactly.
on. Come on. Yeah, that definitely, that message always rings true.
Yes.
You know, even now, I like receive that like reminder to self.
You have to
keep pushing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I will say the same thing, like being honest.
Yes.
Being honest, being always you. Take your time. You are not on a rush.
Yes,
and
that's important.
Yes,
That's important.
And you are in the good way, like you are doing good.
Yes.
This is for you. Don't forget, this is for you. Follow your intuition. You know it.
Right.
You know it since you can tell. You know it. This is for you.
I agree.
That's dope. Yeah. What do you mean by like, don't be in a rush?
That's important.
Yes, because I'm really hard worker. Like I become from like a real hood of Spain. So I just go out of my house when I was 16 years old, and I was working like really hard. So I have this mentality like I have to work hard, everything. I don't going to sleep today. I don't going to sleep tomorrow. This. No, it's not necessary.
Right.
Like you have to be totally you, and you have to be like good with everything you are doing, and you have to be healing so many things that you have, and you don't need to be like
in a rush.
Yes, you
I
don't
can
have to
speak
be in
from
a
that
rush
too, because I think a lot of times people see what they say, that they see the glory, but they don't know the story or what it took for you to get to where you are. So sometimes if you see a person's social media, it's like, oh, it looks good. It looks, oh man, they're doing everything I want to do, but they don't understand the journey and the process that it takes to get there. So you got to put in that work. You got to put in the time and the sleepless, the hours that takes to get to that point. So when, like I said, the reward will all come together in the end. So when she said don't rush, I could definitely attest to that.
And
That's important.
also it's because you have to enjoy the
journey.
process, the journey.
Exactly.
So when you are not enjoying the process, maybe you have the goal and you don't you don't give the value that the goal have. So it's important to, when you are in this time, like being in the present.
I feel like we're probably all too at this cusp of technology and social media, that buzzword, right? So we probably were creatives evolving long
Prior
before like the Instagram and TikTok and trailer videos and all these things. Like my really favorite phrase of mine is like, comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes like social media can really up that ante of comparison, and I find myself being hollowed out by it. Which, by the way, everyone should follow everybody on social media and add me on LinkedIn, all these things, because it is important to maintain the network, and the network exists there. So like it's really cool to like, you know, connect with people, especially when you have folks that live in totally different places. Right. So it's very powerful. But can you all speak to maybe like your journey with social media, especially as women? I think it impacts us because there's so much more focus on bodies, right? You know, how has that shaped your career? And maybe tell us like even a victory of how you've or if depending on where you're at with it in your process, but like how have you kind of hurdled that challenge of producing for the sake of producing for social media, and like how has it kind of bogged you down creatively, and you know, what are you doing to overcome it?
I like the process to create something, like for make content. I love that because I have this like a drag queen spirit inside me. Yes. So everything that is around that, I love it, and I do my clothes too and everything, so that part I love it. But when you know what I don't like at all is all these crazy thing change all the time with the algorithm. That is, it's crazy. And also, yes, to have this pressure of, okay, so I'm going to release a song in 2 weeks, so I have to work on my, you know, it's a lot of pressure, and it's like, come on, like I'm an artist, I am not a media content or something. So this is horrible. So sometimes I had to be like, I don't care. Yes. But it's something that you have to balance all the time. It's hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's definitely tough because when I started out, there was no social media. It was just all word of mouth, handing out business cards, that type of thing. Now it's kind of like phasing out. So it's like, what's your IG? What's your this? What's your handles? So for, you know, now I sometimes get overwhelmed with it, and I'll step away. It's stuff. I have lots of content that I haven't even posted, but it's like I don't want to get wrapped up. Like I still want to be able to be creative. I don't want to get away from why I'm here and why I do what I do. So if social media gets in the way, I step away. You know, but it has its victories. I mean, there's times where if you be consistent, then you see the rewards of that. People start reaching out. I get calls from posts I posted a while ago. They see me at this event. So it has its rewards in it, but it can be, like I said, overwhelming at a time where you just say, you know what, I got to take a step back. And then the comparison sometimes can get in the way too. So I think having that balance of like staying true to who you are, but still knowing how to, you know, play the game, the algorithm game, and whatever. I think once you find that balance, just do what works for you, and just don't get wrapped up in it.
And
you know?
For me, it's important too, like, to be more in the part that is the authentic thing for me, like my show, my rehearsal, everything. And then I release, so many people have really good, amazing content in Instagram and TikTok that makes you think that they have the most amazing show of the world or something.
They have it going
and
on.
Then you are there in the show and it's not like that. It's so much better, the reels or the story they posted than the actual show. Yes. So yeah, it's like these fake identities. I call it like that.
Yeah, I feel like I've been struggling with like a turbulent relationship with social media because I used to be really heavy on it, especially over quarantine. You know, it's like wasn't much else to do, so I'm gonna bake something and put it step by step on Instagram. You know, and
tutorial, you're right.
Yeah, and then it became like this, like okay, and then I went to a restaurant and oh my god, this plate of tacos is so beautiful. I'm gonna take a picture of it. And wait, I gotta get a better picture of it when the natural light has to hit it, and then we're gonna then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I'm producing lunch, you know, or whatever. and then so I realized I was going overboard, right?
Yeah.
And then I just completely quit cold turkey, and
Same.
and everyone's like,
Same.
where are you?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Where'd you
They'll
go?
find you. Yeah.
And then when you come back on, you maybe, like you were saying, the algorithm's a little funky because it rewards you for posting, right? So I'm curious and want to remind everybody that we have a chat that's open for questions live. So if you have any questions, you should drop them in our live chat, and I'll be reviewing them throughout the evening if anybody has anything to add. But if anybody has any strategies for just like the way that they balance social media, or just if you've taken any breaks, or how many hours a day do you spend on it, what's something that's really helped you budget your time and energy in social media? Just curious, drop it in the chat. But
so I remind something about the social media. 1 year ago, I was working as a model. So a really big model agency of Spain contacted me, and I was working there. I was just 4 months there. Because when I started, like the CEO, the director of the company, he was really interested in me, and he decided to be my manager and everything. Okay, and that was good. Oh, I thought that was good, but he became really obsessed with everything. Like he trying to change my style. If I post a story dancing, he was like, a sock is appearing in the floor behind in the story, like controlling everything that happened in my social media in a way really, really picky. And I was like, wow.
I just think from a creative space, that's how I continue to grow. And then sometimes, like I say, stepping away and just having those self-care days, or just breaking from the routine of being in work mode all the time can be helpful for me.
For me, I'm always trying to be in places that are inspiring for me. If I am in one place that is not inspiring me anymore, I go. That actually happened this to me right now, because I'm going to move from Madrid, because it's not a city that is inspiring me anymore. And I go to therapy. That is, I think, is something really important, and I do like a lot of things around self-care. I'm a spiritual too, not religious, but I learning and reading a lot of things about my spiritual way. And to be around the nature. The nature is something that really inspires me a lot, and some people too. And also like to take care a lot about the people who are close to me, and yes, to take care about my emotional, my spiritual, and my mental health.
Yes, that's key. Definitely mental.
do either of you meditate? Like intentionally meditate?
I do meditate, but actually when I really, really, really do the deepest meditations, it's not intentionally.
Right.
And when I was a child, like I have these things, like I don't know how to say, I could make like astral travel, like I can go out of my body. Like this happened to me when I was like 8, 10, 12 years old. I can make it easy. And I don't even know what is meditate. I don't know what is about meditation about, and I can make that easily. But yes, then something traumatic happened to me and I couldn't make it again. So this is why I'm in that process for study a lot and trying to be in that point again. But as I told you, I didn't have the intention at that time to make that. It's something that I know I can do, yes.
Wow. Man, when I think about myself as a kid, I was way cooler as a kid, you know, like just way more creative. But we spent so much time as kids and young girls, like questioning so much of like, are we cool? You know, and self-doubting so much. Now I'm like, wow, if only I could get back to that same creative space that I was in as a younger kid. Do you feel like you've outgrown any aspect of your artistry as you've, I don't know, gotten older, or just like experience more life? Like, and I guess I'll give you some context. Like, I guess over COVID, you know, over quarantine, the last couple of years, I felt myself really kind of outgrow some of the things, like my interests artistically, or, you know, certain live performances, or the being enamored with touring, or, you know, some of these things that I kind of like, after I spent more time with myself and got a little healthier mentally, I was like, you know what?
I don't want to do that
That's,
anymore.
like, that's not as important to me these days. And, you know, or some of my friends became parents or something, and, you know, they're kind of like, that's really not as important to me anymore, like based on the context of my life these days, you know. Is there anything that sticks out to you, either of you, that you feel like you've maybe outgrown over time, and Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I think like for me it's this thing about to be something that you are not, or this kind of question that makes you compare yourself all the time, or trying to be like just like everybody because you want to like be part of something, no? So these things is not important anymore. Even the opposite thing, the important thing is to be me and being totally me. So yeah, I think I would say that.
I think for me, I don't have a one thing in particular, but I think more so just saying no. If it's something that I don't want to do, where I would always just say, yeah, I do it just for the experience. No. I think that the pandemic has brought that out of me, where a lot of times it's like sometimes I just want my day off. I'm not just going to go after it because of the money. I just need this time. So saying no. And that could be for many different things.
That's a great one. Yeah. That's a really great one. Why do you think it was hard for you to say no to things like earlier in your life and career and beyond? Like, because I've struggled with that too so much, like outside of my job for sure.
Yes.
You know, why is that so hard?
For me, I would say, especially coming from Florida, where I was kind of doing the gigs on my own. I didn't have an agency or anybody backing me. I just went after them on my own. Coming to New York, where like there's so many opportunities, and like once I got connected with, you know, someone that was managing me, it was like I didn't want to say no to anything. I took everything that they gave me. I'm like, yes, 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 no matter what it was, no matter what I just took it, because I'm like, I'm afraid if I say no, they're not gonna go ask me again. And it took a while, and once I got that experience and that exposure, and I'm like, you know what, I'm burnt out. Like, I literally have to take 1 weekend off a month just to get myself together and to be able to create and just to be able to keep this going, because if I don't, I'm no good for anybody, and I can't enjoy it, and that's when it becomes a job. And like, I'm doing this because I love it. It's a passion of mine. So when it gets away from that, then yeah, you have to reset. So I think that was hard for me in the beginning to say no, and I took on everything, and it helped in the exposure aspect and getting the experience. But now I can just say, you know what, I'm good with that, or no, I'm gonna pass that one up and give somebody else the opportunity that may be looking for that. So
yeah, same for me, and also too, like maybe to take some jobs that I really want to do it, but are not good paying, are not paying the So this is it's like that. I have to put the value of my work, and my works need that budget. If you don't have it, you cannot have my work. As maybe I cannot have the biggest luster in the best restaurant. It's the same.
And that goes back to what she said. Like, what are you doing, saying no to now? I think the things that I just used to say yes to at a lower paying gig or a lower rate, I'm not going to just say those things are no longer accepted. Like, at this point in my life, like, no.
Yeah. That was my strategy in the beginning, was saying yes to everything, especially if you know, not from New York City. You come to New York City and it's like,
I'm thinking like world of opportunities. Like,
and it's like, yes, I want to show up. I want to show up to everything. That was what I tell people. Like, I show up to everything. That's what gives me success. And at the time, you know, that's, you know, it helped because it
in its own way, but
gave me my bearings, you know.
It weighs out.
But once you know kind of like what your bandwidth is,
you know better, you do better.
Exactly. You can start saying no. And I think women in particular can struggle with that more because we're so conditioned to be accommodating. Even in my own family relationships or friends or, you know, whatever, it's just like, yeah, we can make that work. We can do that, you know, to not provide a lot of pushback or, you know, and especially in my career, you want to say yes to everything so that no one's undervaluing you or underestimating you. And then you end up spreading yourself too thin and causing problems.
Burnout.
So it feels good to be able to know where you're at, like be established enough to be able to pass on certain things that aren't up to par.
I agree.
Yeah, but it takes a while to get there.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it takes a while to grow to that place.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I guess also when you're looking forward to the next chapters of your career, how do you think those visions have evolved? You know, we all had the strategy when we first started of just like getting on the scene, saying yes to everything, trying to be as involved as possible. Now, when you look to the future, how has your mindset changed around, you know, what you want to do next, and how are you framing that mentally these days? Like, what's happening next?
for me, it's like I know what I want. I know the direction and how I want DJing to look for me in the future. So I'm doing everything that I can now to prepare for that. If that means investing in myself, branding, getting the content, whatever that looks like, you know, I'm not afraid to do that because now I know better. I know what to do. I know what I want to, where I'm trying to get, and I know what it takes to get there. So I'm trusting the process, and I'm, you know, taking the steps necessary to get that to that place. So that way, when I'm there, I can, you know, be able to enjoy that and then help others and pull them up along the way. So.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I think I just want to like keep working hard. I know more how the industry works and everything because I'm starting in music in a very like weird way. So I say before, so when this happened, I become viral and I don't have any idea what to do with that. And also, yes, it wasn't the totally kind of music that I wanted to do. It was my first song, so it never happened that you made your first song and your first song make go viral. Yeah. So yes, just also like giving me the time and investing in my project and have my objective really clear and go for it.
That's dope. That's cool. When I think about the people that are tuning in right now, like the people that are attending, whether it's in person or live stream, you know, I'm thinking about myself attending events like this in the past, like again, kind of vague women in music, right? Panels like these are probably women, folks that are in the industry and maybe are just trying to figure out where their lane is, you know, like what am I good at? You know, what do I like? What do I want to do? You know, they're looking for these gems and that kind of like direction and guidance, you know. Can you speak to those folks that are tuning in tonight as far as like the very open-ended, like, what am I doing? You know, like where is my specialty in music business? Or the music industry, maybe not the business, but, you know, as creatives, you know, what should we be doing? You know, what should we do on this pathway to searching for what we are passionate about in kind of a complicated landscape, especially as things become more digital and, you know, like changing with time? Like, what would you tell the people that maybe we kind of have our niches, and I'm still figuring out my niche, honestly. Fine. Yeah, you know, and that is fine. Yeah. But what would you tell the folks that maybe don't have as clear of a lane yet? You know, they're listening for just encouragement from women who've been in the game for a little bit. Yeah. You know, what might you say to them just on a very like high level? No pressure.
No pressure. For me as a DJ, I like to go out and experience or see other DJs and sometimes get a feel of my style, like, okay, that I like this, I like that. So I think getting out there just to kind of understand and see like what's out there, you could kind of gauge and say, okay, I like a little bit of this, or I don't like this, or I mean, I think that helps, just getting out there, and then you kind of find, okay, I liked something that they did, so I could see myself doing that, and just kind of do the research and expand and, you know, ask the persons. Don't be afraid to speak up and kind of network and go to places that people are, like-minded people are, and I would say that would probably be helpful to trying to find that lane or when you're unsure.
Yeah. So did you spend a lot of time going to shows, like before you were like booking events constantly?
Oh, definitely. When I moved here to New York, that's what I did. I mean, I was out during the weeknight and turned around and went to work the next morning. I had to find my lane. I was like, you know, what can I do to see where I need to be or where I want to be? So I went out. I would find things on social media or find an event going on, an all vinyl this, and I'm like, I like vinyl, so I'm going to go to this Monday night spot. And I would go out faithfully for over a year and found my lane in the vinyl space. Right. So it's like sometimes you know, certain things you follow, you kind of find the niches and find the things that are true to you, and then kind of expand upon that, and you'll be around like-minded people that are, you know, creatives that are doing what you like to do in the music industry. So that was helpful for me.
And that's the grind.
Yes.
You know, it's like that's the beginning.
Behind the scenes that people don't see.
Right.
Yeah.
Like show up to
making
everything.
Those connections and networking, and people start seeing you, and then they give you the opportunity. Now it's like, okay, you've been supporting us, you've been coming here, and just in that alone sometimes is what helps you be able to like, okay, I get my shot, I get my chance. So.
And were you always super outgoing?
Very.
Like, okay.
Very. I'm very talkative too. Like when it comes to the mic and cameras, I really not good at it. But when it comes to like approaching people, I can go anywhere by myself in the world, and I'll make a friend. I'll meet somebody. I'll find somebody that enjoys or does something that I like to do, and before you know it, we follow each other. And that's just how I am. I've always been outgoing, but just camera shy and mic shy. But
yeah,
once I get comfortable,
you're doing good.
You're real comfortable. It's really good.
That's dope. That's super dope. Yeah, and adding people, like staying connected once you meet them. And yeah, for sure. Peely, what about you? Were you outgoing always? Like, was it easy for you too?
Yeah, I love to dance. So I always, I even like went to festivals alone. Like, yes,
yeah, don't let nothing
so
stop
many
you.
times before, like, and I don't care because I love the music. Even, like, I was telling you before, but I was listening like Afro-Caribbean music since I was a child, and I become from Spain and even from a small village of Spain. So nobody listened that music there, so yes, I was always alone with my speakers, with my Walkman, everything, listen music. And when I had the opportunity to move to a big city of Spain, I'm starting to go out, so my friends didn't like the kind of music that I like, so I'm starting to go parties alone, and I was going party alone for so many times, and now I love to go party alone. So I had this thing like so many times my friends call me and say, oh, do you want to go to that party? And maybe I don't reply, then I see it then in the parties, like, why you didn't reply? It's like, no, because I want to be alone.
I was already coming.
I was coming anyway.
Yes, it's like, no, I'm going to meet you here, it's not a problem. We'll see you. Yes, and I always I make so many friends at that parties, and it's good because they are there, so they like the music that you like. Yes, and yes, I am like that.
yeah. We, like I was asking what you would say generally to someone who's like, oh, I'm just starting out in like music, and I'm a creative. Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would
from where
tell
you're at?
them they have to live different experience. They have to. For know what you like and what you don't like, and you have to choose the things that you like. You have to believe in yourself and being honest to you. This is really important, being totally to you. Don't trying to be another person for being accepted. Don't compare yourself. Just being in that and listen a lot of music, going to shows, going to see the people you like, do the things that inspires you, and yes, and it's a process, step by step.
Yeah.
Yes. It's tough in music and in creative fields in general, because sometimes it's not always guaranteed work, like we all can relate to like struggling for a paycheck or whatever. So sometimes you start to dabble into like, jobs that maybe they're not feeding your soul in the way that your creative work does. And they're not feeding your soul, and it's fine, but they're getting you a little check, and it's okay, and it holds you down. And then eventually, if you stick in them too long, it not only is it passively not feeding your soul, but it's actually draining you. So it's so important to like you were saying earlier, stick to it, to keep pushing, to keep doing the work that makes your heart soar in the most like cheesy Disney sounding way. Like it's so real, like that, it's magic. And like, I think everybody who cares about music, you buy into that like magic too, because if you want like a tangible job, you could do so many other things in the world. But we're like doing this because we believe in like the emotional aspect of this work, and just like the spiritual aspect of just being able to tap into this world, but like all things, like you can practice that too. You can practice your creativity too. You can practice your outgoing kind of like networking charm as well. These two ladies is natural for them, and they just got it. Some people just born with the juice, so to speak. And that's good. But if you're not like that, it's okay.
Right.
It's still important
to
get out
an
and
introvert
network
and not have that, but.
But practice.
Still know what you want. Still practice, do the research. Everybody's not friendly or like to talk. I understand that. So it's still something that you can pursue in the music industry.
Something I would say too, like as a way to practice that, and it doesn't always have to do with your work or your music. It can just be like, take yourself out to dinner You know, practice doing that. You know, if you're someone who's like uncomfortable introducing themselves and kind of inserting yourself into the party, go out to dinner one night by yourself. You know, get a drink, get an appetizer, take your time and browse the menu, order food or, you know, whatever, and get comfortable just sitting at a table without anybody else interacting with you, stimulating you, whatever, you know, just you, and get comfortable like taking up space by yourself. And then when you're in those social settings, it becomes a little bit more natural. Like, okay, like
I can do this.
I'm not totally scared.
It's a really good advice. To go dinner alone. It represents a lot of important things.
Do you guys do that? Do you go out to eat by yourself?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do it actually this morning.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but I do it all the time. I travel a lot. Like for example, like one of my big influence for make music is West Africa. So when I make this song and I have like a small money and I say, okay, the first thing that I'm going to go is to go to Ghana. And I went to Ghana for make music there and work with many producers there. So now I go every year and I've been going for 4 years.
Alone?
Yes, alone.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, I love that.
Have you done any solo traveling yourself?
All the time. Went to LA by myself. Before the pandemic, I did a lot of traveling, and some of it was by myself. So if someone can't go with me, I still go and map out my day. And sometimes it flows better that way because you're free to just do whatever and you don't have no pressure. But if someone's with me, then I try to accommodate and try to make sure we're both doing something collective. But I'll travel anywhere by myself.
Yeah, it's good to remind yourself that the world is bigger than just wherever you're at. Sometimes that can take off some pressure on you artistically and creatively as well. And like you were saying, Pili, like you go to places that inspire you, you know, like just different places in the world. Sometimes you really have to leave home
what you're used to
do that, you know.
Comfort zone.
And I did some traveling this summer by myself, and it was the first time that I even felt like I saw myself for the first time, you know, like out of the context of my home and all the things that I was familiar with and comfortable with.
How was that experience? Was it like?
It was really cool. I actually I was comfortable for the first time in my life. I turned 28 and I was comfortable for the first time posting a picture without makeup on. You know, like it was like a pivotal experience in my life. And now I look back at my Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, I used to like post so much. I was so done up, you know, and I'm not, that's not even my face naturally. Like I have blonde eyelashes and, you know, light features and I would make my face up so much or put a filter on or something. For the first time in my life, I posted a picture with not a lick of makeup on, you know, and that was like a big deal for me. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many photos on my phone. I just never posted because I didn't think I was pretty. And then you reach a point where you're like, you know what? Actually, I'm fly because I said I am.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And a woman in the airport, actually, as I was coming home, gave me really cool advice. And she said, you know, everybody wants to be first. But that's not unique. That's not special. There will be a lot of people that will come and be first after you're first. She's like, what's important is to be you.
I love that.
Because there's gonna be a lot of other people in first place after you're gone. But when you're gone, it's not another
it's only you
coming.
You're unique.
You know, it's not another you now. So it's just like in life, like your biggest mission, like forget like a career or whatever, but like when you can find yourself and like understand who you are at your core, it's amazing how much else starts to align. And so I feel like got a lot of that this summer.
I agree.
Personal
1000%.
alignment. And we don't have a ton more time left here, so I'll check the chat one more time to see if there's any other questions. It sounds like there's a lot of people tuned in, so it's really great that we have so many viewers.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, we have over 1,000 people watching right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's pretty freaking cool.
Nice.
What about anybody in the audience or on the chat? Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? You know, put us on the spot here.
Yeah, come on.
We got the mics, we got the lights. Let's go. Any questions or anybody from the audience? Just thoughts about our conversation here this evening, or any ideas from women in the audience. Don't be shy. Anything? No.
I think you guys did a great job on expressing everything, starting from the body, and like you said, changes, but change is a natural from, you know, you gotta crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
And then walk and then run.
Right.
So that, you made that clear that,
From the
you know,
bottom.
and then the next thing I enjoy being yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to drag somebody with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes being that
Alone.
Because you make yourself happy. You know, people look for other people to make them happy, but it's all within you.
Wow.
So some people are just miserable people anyway. but no, I see that on the platform, you ladies are strong-willed and have a direction of where you want to go, and sticking with that course and making it happen is following the process.
Yes.
Because the Creator has put something special in each one of us, and once we find that gift, like Tammy knows that it's not, the gift doesn't seem like a job.
Right. It's
It's a pleasure.
Right.
So you working, but you get paid for
what I love to do. Yeah.
And so do you, especially coming from Spain and then going to Africa.
Thank you.
So you're getting a cross culture, culture of all type of people.
Yes.
And that's important in life because we all have a different path, and you guys explained it very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mother.
Did we get that audio okay? Were you able to hear that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so cool, like the idea of crawling before you walk and walking before you run, and like, oh man, it's a process. I wish I could go back and say, like, you know, pour into myself the way that I'm able to now, but we have to trust the process.
Yes.
And we are
Trust
here
the
now.
process.
Now you are here.
Yes.
So if you didn't live what you lived before, maybe you
wouldn't
didn't
be
be here.
Exactly.
Yes. So
I agree.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And enjoy the journey. Like,
Yes,
even with
enjoy
trusting the
the
process,
journey.
which can be difficult at times, enjoying the journey as you go through those ups, those downs, because I'm telling you, it has not always been easy for me. You know, there's nights I've been up late, or, you know, whatever that may look like, but enjoy the journey, because once it's gone, it's like, that's it. So trust the process and enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool that we are all able to come together tonight. Who'd have thought? You know, this evening, on a Tuesday, you know, just on a Tuesday. That's really, really cool. I mean, it sounds like we're all exactly where we're supposed to be.
Right.
You know, right here, wherever that is, wherever that place is right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. So thank you, everyone, for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to talk to both of you amazing, brilliant, successful, beautiful women.
Pleasure.
Yes, likewise.
Thank you. You were great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
were great.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in and for being here in the room.
For the people
Thank
that
you.
are here in the net. Thank you too.
And special
Muchas
thanks to
gracias.
Sound Collective as well for having
Yes.
us be here today. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Sound Collective NYC.
NYC.
Find them on the gram.
Yes.
Interact with us, ask questions, and everyone have a great rest of your evenings.
Yes. Yes. Still hot.
Notes and change the pitch. Next, we're going to look into adding notes using letters. And also using our arrows to move and scroll through the pitch. Third, we're going to look into using our Midi keyboard and our keypad to input notes in Finale using the Speedy Entry tool. I'm going to select one measure